The workplace dynamic can be a bit tricky, but maybe if we should get a strong grasp on the do's and the don'ts, we just might be able to increase our comfort level while being productive.
It's time for another He Says, She Says conversation. Joining us today are Reverend David Grant, the lead pastor of the Jamaica Evangelistic Center and the founder and CEO of Odigia Global, a leadership and personal development organization. Ms. Geraldine Garwood, a clinical psychologist, behavior analyst, and adult educator, and the founder of Behavior Change Consulting Services, and business owner Adermi Mitchell. Welcome to the discussion.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Our guests are here to provide some perspectives on everyday life situations we all want to talk about. Today, that's acceptable behavior in the workplace. I'm your host, Andre Palmer. Let's get right into it. Jamaica business culture is straightforward. It is centered around mutual respect, courtesy, and hard work, and you must dress for the job. But workplace indecency is a prevailing issue, as some employees have reported incidences of sexual harassment and discrimination. What could be the root cause of this? Well, we will break it down here.
Some of the factors that may contribute to the incidences in the workplace is that of when persons work hard and they need to be promoted, sometimes that promotion comes with favors. And if the favor is not being granted, then the person cannot receive a promotion. And a lot of females tend to report that in some organizations, that they would have been at a company for a period of time, they would have done all that is required, they would have exceeded the target given to them, and a lot of openings at the upper level is made available, but because they are under pressure to give in to sexual favors from a supervisor or a manager or somebody in a senior authority, then they experience what we would call discrimination, right? Another thing that may happen is persons in the workplace who do not speak the Queen's English, standard English, and that has come to the fore too. So they will experience marginalization, I would rather say, because they may be from a certain strata of society and they may not be able to kind of represent themselves the way how the company probably would want them to, right? And their background now plays into that, and they are also marginalized, or what you would say experience some level of discrimination, right? So a number of things can happen for persons experience discrimination and sexual harassment, and how it is handled is very critical to any development of any institution.
But couldn't that cause, it affect the whole morale of the person? Like, you are qualified for the job, you know the job inside out, you really like working for the company, but because of one little issue, you cannot get the work. Would that cause some level of discouragement among not only the staff that has been marginalized, but other persons seeing that if you have a little issue, you will not be chosen, even if you're qualified?
Yes, I do believe so, because I've seen it happen. And we have to remember that we're always in community. No matter how we try to isolate ourselves, we're always in community. So that one particular person who is being marginalized will share with their co-workers, you know, and then it goes around, because if it's a female who feels marginalized, she's going to share with our female co-workers, probably even with our male co-workers too. But the females are going to start to look within themselves and say, but this is unfair. This is unfair. They now might drop their standard of work as well. Or one or two might improve their standard of work and be willing to offer.
Adermi, as a business owner, my question to you is, would that affect your staff turnover? Say one of your employees are there for a long time, but they are overlooked. How would that affect you as a business owner, knowing that this may lead to the person leaving?
That's in that scenario, right? It's kind of hard because then you don't want to just replace somebody that has been there with somebody great, somebody new, because then it's going to be hard on the business per se, because you're going to have to train them, coach them about the position and such forth. But in terms of the harassment part of things in the workplace, I've seen it happen before, where the guy is basically flirting with another co-worker, right, instigating certain things to that co-worker, right? And I know none of it is right, but you tend to have that within any workplace or any organization where somebody is always trying to instigate something with someone.
But as you mentioned about the whole sexual harassment and seeing it in the workplace, how does that affect the work environment when that is frequent, even though sometimes it may not seem obvious? But how do you think it affects the whole entire work environment?
It can make the environment become hostile, and it can also make it become very timid. So some persons can be afraid, because it depends on the level you're at and how you value yourself. Some person will take the harassment because they have to think about the children to feed, the bills to pay, the rent, utility bills, and so they can't really lose this job. So they will take the harassment, and it makes them uncomfortable because it impacts them now mentally. They are not able to sleep, they are not eating well, they go to work with that level of anxiety, that fear that this is going to happen. On the other hand, though, you have some persons that can become volatile, and the person who is doing the harassment can end up losing their life.
My question that I want to ask now, do you think the age group of persons entering the workforce matter and how they adapt? Why or why not?
Can I take this one?
Sure.
It does matter, because how the age range plays is that some people are not fully mature. So they come into the workplace, in the work environment, with immature behavior, which leads to certain actions or certain things done. I
want to say also that I think that we should prepare the younger generation for work. And they should be prepared from the high school level. So when they're at fifth form, fourth form, fifth form, going on to sixth form for those who go to sixth form. Because we are realizing now that a number of our youngsters may not have the finances to go straight to college. So they would want to work first and save their money and help themselves back to school, and which is good. Right, they are trying to show some sense of autonomy, and they are trying to assist their parents who may not be able to sustain them for a college education. But I really think that at the high school level, they should be prepared for the workforce.
You mentioned immaturity and in terms of the age. How can persons avoid conflict at work and build better relationships? And as you mentioned earlier about being better prepared and the need for that, how can one avoid these conflicts and better build healthy relationships on the job?
If I may, the culture of that business, the culture of that workplace is very important. And the leaders or the bosses are the ones who really set the culture. One of the things that is very important is clear and precise communication. Boundaries are important, right? So persons need to know that, hey, I can go this far in a conversation with this person and no further. It's about also learning or being emotionally intelligent, where you see someone probably looking depressed, or how you approach them, the things you say to them can be either helpful or offensive. So it's a whole matter. I believe, and I'm saying this now, that I believe some workplaces need to bring in persons like the goodly Miss Garwood here to come in and to do some training, do some educating as to how you operate within the workspace, because the workspace is different from home. It's different from school. It's different from even church.
All right, so we went to the streets to hear what the viewers had to say on the same topic that we're discussing right here. Let's take a look.
Any leader leadership that teaches you to depend upon another race.
Female make better leaders now. In the past, it was males, but we find out that ladies are developing in disciplinary issues. They are powerful women who have excelled in their area or whatever their field may be. And because of that, I think that they make good leaders.
Where the youth get set up, so them family have to keep regular set up.
Well, this is where we have to end our discussion with our he says, she says conversation. Stay tuned for more. Our guests were Reverend David Grant, Miss Geraldine Garwood, and Adermi Mitchell. Thank you for watching, and I am Andre Palmer. Take care.
That teaches you to depend upon another race is a leadership that will enslave. Any leadership that teaches you to depend upon another race is a leadership that will enslave.